Abby, welcome to the main lecture of Preventive Medicine and Public Health. I am your lecturer for this segment. My name is Dr. Mark Louis Seaman and I am assigned to deliver the topic epidemiology. Yes, you heard it right, epidemiology. For sure, napagdaanan na natin to ng medical school. Yung iba siguro sa inyo na-appreciate, yung iba siguro nakalimutan na. But in the advent of the Universal Health Care or RA 11223, previous board exam question yan, very important at naging highlight ng epidemiology. So marami ang intimidated, bored, sabaw sa topic na ito. Pero if you're going to approach it, like you're going to use it in real practice, then you will appreciate it. Not just to pass the board exam, but of course at the end of the day, to be a good physician in your barangay or in your community. So now let's begin with the basic definition of epidemiology. Very boring, no? Yung definition, but I want you to dissect it, yung ating definition. So, epidemiology is the study of the distribution. Please take note, no, yung mga red words here, and determinants of health-related states or events in specified population, and the application of this study to the control of health problems. So later, we will dissect it one by one, no, starting with distribution, and then determinants, health-related states or events, and lastly, application. Very easy to understand that later. Now, let's begin with distribution. Who, when, and where. When we talk about distribution, concerned siya with the frequency and pattern of any health events in a population. Please focus and remember the word frequency and pattern. Pero maging maingat kayo ha, hindi lahat ng nababasa yung STEM ng question na may frequency automatic distribution na. Sa pagsagot sa board exam, iwasan yung mga reflexes nyo na kapag may sounds like or connected dun sa word na yun, ayun na kagad. Tip number 1, you should read the whole STEM, understand the case para at least mas maging responsive tayo sa tinatanong ng board examiner. Now let's go to frequency. Pag sinabing frequency, hindi lang ito yung number of health events. For example, number of cases ng meningitis or diabetes in a population. Pero pinag-uusapan din dito yung relationship of that number to the size of population. Let's go back to your internship days. Pinag-census kayo sa isang ward, binilang nyo kung ilan ang may dengue. Out of siguro, ang dengue number cases nyo doon ay 20. Now, that is frequency alone. But you can also further refine it kung linagyan nyo ng total number of the population. For example, among the admitted patients in the ward, 20 out of 50 ang merong dengue. So doon, mas nagkakaroon ng meaningful definition yung dengue nyo. Is it too much? Mas marami na ba yung cases? Overwhelming na ba siya? And later on, kapag in-apply natin ito sa community level, you will appreciate na nag-endemic level na ba ito, epidemic, or hyper-endemic. Pag-uusapan natin yan mamaya, pero kaya ko sinasabi sa inyo to para at least meron kayong baseline knowledge kung paano i-apply yung mga ganitong scenario pagdating sa number of cases. Next, patterns. Patterns ng health-related events by time, place, and person. So may time patterns tayo. May mga sakit na annual, seasonal, weekly, daily ang appearance or occurrences. Place patterns naman, geographic variation, urban-rural differences, and then personal characteristics or the person. Ano ba yung mga demographic factors related to the risk of illness, injury, disability, no, sex, marital status, and socioeconomic status. Actually, when you go to the physical exam and history, parang dito makikita nyo na, di ba, yung mga risk factors, and then at the end, magkakaroon kayo ng idea. So time patterns, no, here in the Philippines, kapag rainy season, what do you expect na tataas sa mga cases? No, kapag kayo ay lumusong sa baha. Very good, doctor, no? Leptospirosis, no? Pwede rin post rainy season tataas din ng mga vector related infections like your dengue. So ibig sabihin, you as a doctor, kung ikaw ay nasa community, you can have siguro an expectation of what yung mga cases na pwedeng tumaas. Now, place patterns, very important and also related sa board exam. lugar pa lang may idea ka na ng infection or sakit na pinag-uusapan. I'll give you one place. Palawan. Ano na kagad ang iniisip mo? Tama, very good, no? Malaria. O pag sinabi kong Samar, tapos may snail, okay, inisip nyo na kagad schistosomiasis. And then personal characteristics, no? For example, yung mga trabaho, yung mga construction worker working under the heat of the sun, what they expect to increase, yung mga heat-related illnesses, heat exhaustion, heat stroke, etc. So, kumbaga, yung epidemiology, binibigyan kayo ng advanced knowledge in order to predict siguro yung mga needed preparation for you to handle a case very well. Now, bakit ko tina-explain na maayos? Kasi sa board exam, pwede silang magbigay ng case scenario and then based on the definition of epidemiology, you will identify whether that case is talking about distribution, determinants, health-related states or events, or application. Okay? So remember distribution, think of your frequency and pattern, and then you can just move and think of the other definitions of frequency and pattern. Now, let's move on to your determinants. Why and how? Okay? Ang determinants, the causes and other factors that influence the occurrence of disease and other health-related events. So, ang determinants nyo pwedeng any factor, whether event, characteristics, or other definable entity that brings about a change in health condition or other defined characteristics. Tandaan nyo to, kaya siya naka-red. Determinants assess whether groups with different rates of disease differ in their demographic characteristics, genetic or immunologic makeup, behaviors, environmental exposures, or other so-called potential risk factors. So we are just talking about the differences of two groups. So sino yung mas mataas ang exposure, sino yung mas prone, depende po doon sa exposure nila. Okay? So that is your determinants. Now, this is just simple definition. Sa epidemiology, kapag sinabi nating health-related states or events, we are just talking about the disease. O, tandaan nyo na to. Sa epidemiology, yung disease, pwede rin natin siyang sabihin outcome. Okay? So, ngayon, ang context natin, kapag sinabi kong outcome, we are just talking about the disease or health-related states or events. Now, ang application ang pinakamadali. Applying the knowledge gained by the studies to community-based practice. So when you think of application, think of the management, actions, recommendations done by the doctor. You can categorize it as application. Now, ito background knowledge lang, no? The word epidemiology comes from the Greek words epi, meaning on or upon, and then demos, meaning people. And of course, we all know, no? Logos, meaning the study of. So we are talking about the people and we are studying the people. Now, this is the most high-yield part of this segment. Now, we're going to answer these these questions. You will answer whether it is a distribution, determinants, and application. By the way, guys, ito ay galing sa Principles of Epidemiology in Public Health Practice, 3rd edition. Nagamit na actually itong mismong mga questions na to sa actual board exams. Okay? Now, let's go on to number 1. Try to answer, okay? Number 1, you compare food histories between persons with Staphylococcus food poisoning and those without. So, with that, what is your answer? Sige, pwedeng wild guess na muna, pero based on our definition, what is your best bet here? Very good, doctor, no? Actually, it is your determinants. Again, pag pinag-usapan ng determinants, no, we are assessing two groups with different rates. So dito, nag-compare tayo ng food histories ng mga taong may food poisoning and those without. Okay, number 2, dito mag-ingat kayo. Number 2 is you compare frequency of brain cancer among anatomies with frequency in general population. What is your answer here? Again, be careful. Understand the whole context. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Yes, determinants pa din. Bakit? Okay, dito ang pinag-uusapan natin yung different rates noong frequency of brain cancer among anatomies and in the general population. O sige, Nabasa nyo yung word na frequency at inisip nyo distribution kasi nga naman concerned with frequency and pattern. Now, yung frequency na pinag-uusapan natin dito is kung nabigyan kayo ng number of health events like your brain cancer or meron siyang relationship to the size of the population. Again, if we are assessing groups with different rates based on their demographic characteristics, and here, no, ang kanilang demographic characteristics or background is being anatomists, the best answer is still determinants. Dito pumapasok yung advice ko earlier na yung buzzwords, mabasa nyo lang kagad, ayun na yun. Dapat ngayon pa lang, basahin nyo ng mabuti yung mga tanong. Okay, let's move on to number 3. Very easy question. Mark on a map the residences of all children born with birth defects within 2 miles of a hazardous waste site. So what's your answer? Very good. Your distribution. Sige nga, kung distribution to specifically, patterns ang pinag-uusapan. Ano kayang klaseng patterns to? If we are marking sa map of residences. Very good. Place patterns. So again, ang ating patterns here, we have time, place, and person, but specifically this case talks about your place pattern. So please don't forget that. Now let's move on to number 4. You graph the number of cases of congenital syphilis by year for the country. Graph. You think of another word that is similar to graphing the number of cases. So what's our answer here? I-lock in nyo na ang sagot nyo. Very good. It's your distribution. And this time we are talking about frequency na, number of health events, specifically your congenital syphilis. Okay. Number 5. Recommend that close contacts of a child recently reported with meningococcal meningitis receive rifampin. So what's your answer here? Now you are recommending more of management. Your favorite answer here is C, or application, no? Sa application kasi, you're now applying the knowledge gained by the studies of the community-based practice. For example, doon sa isang community, na marami ang na-expose sa meningococcal meningitis. So one of the prophylactic drug that you can give actually is your rifampin, or here in the Philippines, rifampicin. Then number 6, you tabulate the frequency of clinical signs, symptoms, and laboratory findings among children with chickenpox in Cincinnati, Ohio. What is your answer? Yes, very good. We are talking about your distribution. Still, we are talking about the frequency. O baka na-trauma na yung iba dyan nung nabasa na yung frequency. Pero you related to the word tabulation. So here, frequency is the answer. So congratulations, we are done now discussing the different parts of the definition of epidemiology. So quickly, I'll discuss to you the highlights in the history of epidemiology. Very important to know, this is trivial, very crispy ang atake, pero meron na kasing history na natanong ito sa board exam. Okay, so si Hippocrates, 400 BC, attempted to explain disease occurrence from rational rather than supernatural viewpoint. So ng mga panahon na yon, si Hippocrates from the supernatural viewpoint, nagkaroon na ng rational point of view. Then we have John Gront naman, 1662. Siya yung pinakauna na nag-employ ng quantitative method in describing population vital statistics. Actually recorded descriptive statistics of birth and death data. Then we have Edward Jenner, very popular. Noong 1796, discovered that it is possible to vaccinate against smallpox using material from cowpox, if you still remember your milkmaids. And actually, that will be explained more when you talk about microbiology. And then we have Jon Snow. Hindi yung Jon Snow na yan, ha? Kasi nung time na linabas tong question na to, usong-uso yung anong show ito, Game of Thrones. So hindi nila kilala yung tunay na Jon Snow. Ang kilala nilang Jon Snow ay yung sa Game of Thrones. Pero ito talaga yung Jon Snow na pinag-uusapan natin. Jon Snow investigated a cholera epidemic in the mid-19th century in London. And remember this, Jon Snow is the father of field epidemiology. And then we have Cook. In late 1800s, some diseases now are caused by living organism. Doon niya pinasok ang Cook postulates or Cox postulates. Now, we have the Framingham Heart Study. Sounds familiar, no? Kasi we have the Framingham criteria. Actually, yung Framing Heart Study noong 1949 talking about the risk factors for coronary heart disease. This is a long-term, still ongoing cardiovascular cohort study. Later on, no, we will talk about the different epidemiologic studies. Ang cohort, no, you have two groups with and without the exposure. Pero dito sa Framing Heart Study, actually, we are studying about the residents in the city of Framingham, Massachusetts, in Boston, no, na nagsimula noong 1948. Actually, 5,000 plus adults ang pinag-aralan nila dyan. Dito na-establish yung epidemiology ng arteriosclerotic cardiovascular disease. That's why, ngayon, alam na natin yung risk factors for coronary heart disease. And then we have Salk, very famous, no, about the polio vaccine. And then we have Dahl and Pito, the post-World War II, pinag-aralan nila yung association between smoking and lung cancer. In fact, alam niyo ba yung dalawa na yan prior to the study, they're both smokers. So, very ironic, no? Pero yes, kung lumabas man sa board exam, you think of smoking and lung cancer for Dahl and Pito. And then, noong 1980, very good news, no? Meron na tayong eradication of smallpox because of your vaccination. So, when we talk about vaccination, you know at the level of prevention, it's primary level of prevention. Now, why am I emphasizing again the highlights? No, because it will benefit us. So ano ba yung uses ng epidemiologic studies? Why do we do epidemiology? Because it helps us identify the etiologic causes of the disease. Nung time na nagpanahon ng pandemic, hindi ko alam kung ilang taon na kayo nun, no? Pero pandemic, I'm already a doctor by that time. Mapapansin nyo everyday sa news, may nakikita kayong mga graphs na pinapakita yung number of cases ng mga pasyente na may COVID-19. Pero hindi pa natin alam yung mga studies about the average incubation period, etc. So itong mga number of cases na to, actually it gives us an idea kung ano yung nature ng infection. Later on, no, we will discuss the epidemic curve patterns para magkaroon kayo ng idea kung ano ba yung source of infection. Very, very important siya. Second, determine the natural history and prognosis of the disease. Like your Framing Heart Study, di ba? So natural history, that's also a high-yield topic in the board exam. We will talk about that later. And then identification of risk factors and high-risk groups. That's why we are doing cohort type of study para mapag-aralan kung yung exposure na ba yun ay related or associated into developing a certain type of disease. For example, smoking to lung cancer. And then, ngayon, very easy, no? Because of the epidemiologic data, it can give you an idea kung ano yung mga programs na pwede natin gawin or prevention, treatment. For example, one discussion made by Dr. Belizario before na mataas ang cases ng stunting in the Aita region, Florida Blanca, Pampanga. No, the epidemiologic study, mataas ang stunting. So ano ngayon yung magiging health programs mo? Pwedeng feeding program. Pero if you're going to identify more of the root causes, no, pwede rin namang prevention of your helminthiasis because of the stunting. So, kumbaga, it will give you an idea kung ano yung magiging approach mo sa case na yon. And then, of course, after your application, recommendation, and management, you can now evaluate the effectiveness of existing health programs, therapy, and preventive measures. Lahat yon epidemiology. So, the fact that you are counting number of cases, monitoring it, and thinking how to address it, that is epidemiology. Now, this will be my last slide for our first segment. We are just going to differentiate classical and clinical epidemiology. So, ang classical epidemiology, it's more of population-oriented. You study the community origins of health problems. For example, infectious agents, your parasites, nutrition, environment, behavior, social, economic, and spiritual. Now, we are interested in discovering risk factors that might be altered in a population to prevent or delay disease, injury, and death. So, in simple words, pag classical, more of community-based settings, bigger ang population. Now, ito mga mas latest ito yung clinical epidemiology. We study now patients in the healthcare setting. Okay, so again, ang ating person of interest here is just a patient sa anong setting? Hospital or healthcare setting. That's why it's called clinical epidemiology. The goal here is to improve the prevention, early detection, diagnosis, treatment, prognosis, and care of illness in individual patients who are risk for or already affected by specific disease. So more of 1:1 clinical, 1:many classical. So that's the end of our first segment. Hopefully may natutunan ka and see you sa